أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اجعل عملنا هذا صالحا ولوجهك خالصا ولا تجعل لأحد غيرك فيه من شيء رب العالمين. Inshallah, we'll start with some recitation of the Quran, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, with our brother Sheikh Abdul Rahman, inshallah, Sheikh Abdul Rahman Susi, inshallah Rabbil Alameen.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ولتكن منكم أمة يدعون إلى الخير ويأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر وأولئك هم المفلحون. ولا تكونوا كالذين تفرقوا واختلفوا من بعد ما جاءهم البينات وأولئك لهم عذاب عظيم. يوم تبيض وجوه وتسود وجوه، فأما الذين اسودت وجوههم أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم فذوقوا العذاب بما كنتم تكفرون. وأما الذين بيضت وجوههم ففي رحمة الله هم فيها خالدون. تلك آيات الله نتلوها عليك بالحق وما الله يريد ظلما للعالمين. ولله ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وإلى الله ترجع الأمور. كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. ولو آمن أهل الكتاب لكان خيرا لهم منهم المؤمنون وأكثرهم الفاسقون.
Jazakumullah khairan, brother Abdul Rahman, Sheikh Abdul Rahman Susi, for the beautiful recitation, inshallah. I will read the translation, inshallah, in English, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. So the brother recited the ayat from Surah Al Imran, chapter 3, verses 104 to 110. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "And let there continue to arise from you a community inviting to good, promoting fairness and opposing evil, and those will be the successful. And do not be like those who became divided and differed even after the clear proofs had come to them. On the day some faces will be brightened and other faces will be darkened. To those whose faces darken, it will be said, 'Did you disbelieve after your belief? Then taste the punishment for your disbelief. But as for those whose faces will brighten, they will be within the mercy of God, then they will abide therein eternally.' These are the verses of God. We recite them to you in truth, and God wants to no injustice to all the worlds. To God belongs whatever is in the heavens and whatever is on the earth, and to God will all matters be returned. You are the best community produced as an example for all humanity. You enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong, and you believe in God subhanahu wa ta'ala." So, my name is Waleed Shadi. I'm the chair of the convention, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, this year. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the 11th Annual Mass Minnesota Convention, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. We are very pleased and honored that you join us today, alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And we are so excited about the programs and lectures today. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering a blessing and to make it a successful convention, inshallah. We are extremely blessed to have with us today great speakers from around the United States who are giving up their time, some of their times with their families and personal lives to share their knowledge with us, inshallah. On behalf of Mass Minnesota and the volunteers, I would like to thank them all, inshallah, for taking this time to be with us today, and I'd like to welcome them all with us today, inshallah. The theme of today's convention is Muslim Americans overcoming, inspiring, and serving. As Muslim Americans or many minorities, we often find ourselves having to face some obstacles and jump over barricades in order to practice our religion here. However, we are not in a unique situation. Long before us, the Prophet ﷺ himself also dealt with bigotry and Islamophobia. Despite this, he was able to overcome and be successful as a minority, even in a society that was full of disbelievers. And inshallah, we will strive to follow his footsteps and also overcome all the roadblocks and become successful as Muslim Americans, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. It is also part of our role here to inspire those around us with our mannerisms, beliefs, and actions. By throwing ourselves fully into our role as a da'iyah, or someone who is delivering the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we hope to also inspire other Muslims in the community to do the same. Lastly, as you will hear throughout the day today, serving the community we live in, both Muslims and non-Muslims, is a vital part of our roles here. Serving others is what makes life truly worthwhile and hopeful. I would like to thank the Minneapolis Convention Planning Team for all the hours they have put in to make this a successful event. Also, we could not have this day without the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then our volunteers, especially the Mass Minnesota youth, these young adults dedicated hours of their weekends and the evenings to ensure the success of this convention. To them all, I thank them all for the great efforts they did. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it a successful convention today, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan for coming, and I hope you enjoy the day and all the programs and lectures today, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. And the beautiful start, inshallah, with our Sheikh Kamal al-Makki, inshallah Rabbil Alameen.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. First, I have to begin by thanking you guys for showing up, the early crew, mashallah. May Allah reward you. I think there's going to be a prize for everyone who came early. No? Okay. Thank you for coming, Jazakumullah khair, and I hope everyone's awake and they had a good breakfast and a good morning and your morning coffee. Yeah, and that you can be reactive with us in this lecture, inshallah, like Egyptians, something like that. Ahlan wa sahlan. Excellent. All right, let's put it this way. Imagine you lived in a village a long time ago. You lived in this village, maybe it was an island, and then there was a volcano that was going to erupt. And so the villagers decided we have to leave this island and move to another one, but we don't know how to make boats. And you're watching them as they experiment, and they build the first boat and it collapses, and then they build the second one, and a third, and a fourth, and all the attempts were failures. And then finally they come up with some really pathetic raft, and they put everyone on it, and they're sailing in the sea. As they're sailing in the sea, and the raft is filling with water, and it's just a complete failure, you tell them, this is not how you build a raft. I have a master's degree in boat building. I've constructed some of the best boats in history, and this is what I've been doing for many, many years. This is not how you do it, but it's pathetic. But I have the knowledge, but look at this. Like, this is not acceptable. What do you think the people in the village would tell you? What do you think they would say to you? They would say, why didn't you tell us from the beginning that you had this excellent knowledge and you could have helped us? You just sat there watching us construct a failure after another failure, and then in the end you're telling us, I know how to do a better one, but no, nobody asked me. Nobody asked you. Nobody knew you had a master's in boat building. I don't know if there's such a thing, but nobody knew that. They're supposed to just smell you and know that you know how to build boats, or are you supposed to come forward and say, hey, there's a better way? This is very similar to how many Muslims behave now in the West in general. That they will sit back and say, look at this system, it's such a failure, and their financial system is based on this, and that other system is based on riba, and this system is based like that, and this is a failure because they can't do it this way. And in Islam we have the answers, but he's just sitting back, just like that boat guy, just sitting back, and he never shares the answers. And I'll never forget when the economic collapse happened in 2008 or whenever it was, Muslims kept saying the same thing everywhere. I went to Australia during that time period, and people were saying the exact same thing. They're saying that the Western financial experts were saying the Islamic system is the best system. I really doubt that they said that. But the Muslims kept saying, look, this system we knew was going to collapse. It's based on riba. There's no real money. They're just shifting imaginary money. They're creating money from nowhere. It's all based on debt, and it's all credit, and there's no real money involved. And I just kept thinking, how sad is this situation? That you wait for something to collapse before you say, I had a better idea. I knew a better system, but we just kept it to ourselves because didn't ask us. That is not like the position of someone who is there to serve the community and who is a blessing for humanity, is it? The person who sees themselves as a blessing for humanity, you come forward immediately to your community with the best solutions, with what works, with working against vices, these kinds of things. So we have a lot of answers, but we keep them to ourselves. I want to tell you a true story that happened here in America. This happened like probably 2 decades ago. A community gathered money and they bought some land and they were going to build a masjid. So when the neighborhood found out that they're going to build a masjid, they said, we don't want a masjid here. And they started opposing the masjid project until they took it to the town council. And they had everyone come that night and give their arguments. And so an uncle got up and he thought he had an excellent argument. He got up and he said, we have the right to build a masjid here because we have been part of this community for 20 years. And he thought that was a strong point. And then a woman got up and she was being sincere. She got up, she said, your community has been here for 20 years? I've been doing soup kitchen for the last 25 years. I have never once seen a Muslim help or come and give a hand. So he thought he had a good point, but you were in the community for 20 years and you disappear. You've got no benefit, no effect on the community. No one even knows that you exist. And then suddenly you want to assert your right to build something. And her point was a valid point. Now this is, of course, alhamdulillah, changing a lot now. Now not only are Muslims taking part in soup kitchens and feeding the needy and all that, they're actually starting those projects now. So this is changing, alhamdulillah. But in the older days, they didn't even have this idea. So we gather money for the poor, meaning for the poor Muslims, to help them with their rent. We want to feed the hungry Muslims only. And every time some khair left the Muslim community, it only went to the poor Muslims in the community. And it didn't go to anyone else outside of it. So nobody felt the effect of Muslims. Nobody felt the effect of Muslims in the neighborhood. And so 20 years and you just have no effect and you disappear, then what's the value of that? And it should be the exact opposite. The verses we just heard recited and translated, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ. You were the best nation ever brought forth or sent forth for an-nas. And in the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says an-nas, it doesn't mean for the Muslims, it means for humanity, for people, for Muslims and non-Muslims alike. So you are supposed to be a blessing for everyone around you. That's how the believing man or woman is. That's how the Muslim community is, a blessing. And so people should be happy when when a masjid is being built in a community, because people will say, excellent, the Muslims are coming. They're going to clean up the streets. They're going to get the drug dealers out of here. Liquor stores are going to close. Any other kind of vice, they're going to move from this neighborhood and move to another neighborhood. That should be how they feel about it. But unfortunately, that's not the case, because we're not in this mindset of bringing khair and blessings to everyone around us. And if you're in that mindset, people will feel the effect of a Muslim community coming into a neighborhood. And I always reference this, and I don't want to say where exactly, all right, and I don't want to tell you the city, but it was the Islamic Center of DC. All right, so everyone awake? Sabah al-khair. So what happens, it's in a very affluent community, and I used to go pray there for many years, in a very rich community, very clean neighborhood, and roses outside, and the grass is cut, very, very nice neighborhood. But after every Friday, it looked like a hurricane hit the neighborhood, because that masjid would have free lunch after every Friday. So, everyone gets, rice and chicken and everything. And so what happens, every Jum'ah is that poor neighborhood was just like hit by a hurricane. Because first of all, Muslims double parking everywhere in front of people's garages and entryways. Then you find chicken bones over here and rice all over the place, plates flying in the wind, forks everywhere. And neighbors constantly, for years, complaining. Please tell people not to throw the chicken bones on the floor. Tell them not to park in front of our driveways. Now, let's be realistic. Now, you expect the people in that community to be so pleased and so happy that, oh yes, Muslims are building a masjid. I'm looking forward to them parking in front of my driveway, double parking, blocking me in, throwing chicken bones in front of my yard. Would you think they'll look forward to that? So we weren't even in the mindset of, let's bring khair to people, let's bring blessings to everybody. And now this is changing, alhamdulillah, and that's a very, very good and very welcome change. But we're supposed to be such a blessing for everyone around us, that everybody feels it instantly and everyone is pleased that we're moving into the neighborhood. Not there goes the neighborhood, the Muslims are coming. They're supposed to be happy about that idea. We go now to the death of the great scholar Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. On the day of his death, schools closed down. Schools closed because they wanted to go to the funeral. The markets closed, and everyone wants to go to the burial, to the funeral prayer. And everyone was crying, and people were saddened. But amongst the people who were crying was a priest, a Christian man who was a priest, and he came with tears on his face. So the Muslims were surprised that he would be crying. So they asked, why are you crying? And if anything, this Christian man should probably be happy that Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah died, because Ibn Taymiyyah wrote volumes this thick refuting Christianity. Okay, they were this thick, not really that thick, okay? But refuting Christianity and giving strong arguments against it. So he should be happy that he died. So they asked him, why are you crying? He said, I'm not crying because the man died. He said, I'm crying because all the good he used to do in the community, no one's going to do it anymore. That's amazing, wallah. Nobody looks moved. What's going on? No, nobody? See, if you're Egyptian, somebody would say, Allah khalik amal haq. Okay, but we're just trying to wake everybody up. What's happening, everyone? Who had a good breakfast this morning? Come on. You have to have good breakfast before you come to a lecture. Good. If you don't, we'll provide breakfast after this talk, inshallah. Come on, people. You with me? So he said, I'm not sad because the man died. I'm sad because all the good he used to do, no one's going to do it anymore. But that is an example of what the Muslim is like in the community. You're doing so much good that if you were to disappear, or if you move, or if you pass away, people will realize something is missing today. The poor and the homeless and all the other people should notice your absence. And when nobody notices your absence, it means you weren't doing anything. If you're at a company, you work at a company, you take a 3-week vacation, and no one even notices, company operations don't change, no one notices that you were gone. What do you think that means about your position? That it's worthless and you should get fired. The boss will call you, continue taking vacation, so you don't have to come back anytime soon. Right? So, you should be noticed. And this man, rahimahullah, Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he used to do so much work that non-Muslims cried on the day of his death, because he had such an effect on the community. That's how we're supposed to be on an individual level, and that's how we're supposed to be as a community, on a communal level, that people feel the effects. Muslims coming in, and you see this more in what they call like the ghettos and things like that. When the Muslims move in, you kind of find the drug dealers to move away, prostitution, all kinds of other things, they move aside. Because now, okay, this is an area with a mosque and with some Muslims, so we don't want to be in this area. And so you find in those kinds of communities, people are happy when the masjid comes in. And in other kinds of communities, not necessarily as happy. But the sad thing is that the Muslims and our youth especially, they're getting mixed messages a lot of times from speakers. And I'm not going to mention names of speakers, but I've heard very popular speakers say things like, look, this is their country, and this is all the things that they're doing are halal for them. So don't interfere, and don't try to stop them from doing the things that are okay for them to do. So mixed messages, because the same speaker in another lecture will say, this is your country, take responsibility, build and help and develop, it's your country. All right, so which one is it? Is it my country or their country and I'm just an outsider looking in? Because when you tell me it's halal for them to do these things, so don't try to forbid evil, first of all, that is 100% wrong. It's 100% wrong. Tell me where it says in the Bible you can snort 4 lines of cocaine. Where is that in the Bible? Or that you can shoot up heroin, or that you can get drunk, or that you can go into, I don't want to mention too many haram things, but this and that and the other. Where is this in the Bible? So is it acceptable to say, oh, it's okay in their religion, so don't try to close down the liquor store, don't send away the drug dealers? But at the same time, my plan is to live and die here and raise my children here, and you're telling me if they get off the school bus and a drug dealer offers them some drugs, I should be okay with that? And the Bible is also okay with that? And I shouldn't do anything to try to get rid of this? And of course I am. It's absolutely the wrong messages some people are sending. So yes, we are supposed to help. We are supposed to improve the neighborhood and improve the community. And the psychologist will tell you, and I was saying this last night, the psychologist will tell you that the way to control the people is to control how they see themselves. You want to control any group, any minority, any group in your population, control how they see themselves. So the question is, who are you and how do you see yourself? Who do you see yourself as? Are you someone who's a da'iyah? Are you an educator? If you see yourself as an educator, you will always have the upper hand. And don't allow anyone to get you to see yourself as a burden on the community, or just as an immigrant, or as the T word. You know what I'm saying? The T word? Okay, as a terrorist. Right? Don't allow anyone to let you see yourself that way. You see yourself as an educator, you always have the upper hand. You're always the one who knows the truth, and you're going to teach it and convey it to others. You're always the one who has the solutions, and you're going to teach it and convey it to others. And when that's the case, you don't even take things personally. Someone argues with you, they just don't know. And I always tell people, if you're teaching first graders, and you're teaching them and the whole class is arguing with you, like, do you get offended and resign and everything? Or, I'm the educator, they're first graders, they don't know what they're talking about. So I'm going to teach them, I'm not going to take offense to it. Now, in case somebody doesn't understand analogies, we're not saying people are like first graders. We're saying the educator always has the upper hand. And you don't take things personally, you don't get offended, because you know and others don't know. So if you know and they don't know, then you have that upper hand. And that's how you see yourself. I'm here to serve, to fix, to correct. My influence on society, it has to be more than just coffee, curry, kebabs. That's the influence for the most part right now, right? And I was at a lecture in the UK one time, and the speaker was talking about, what have we done? And they're talking about the UK. What have we added and benefit, value to the society? And he was talking about big things, and then it was Q&A time. Someone got up and he said, coffee came from Arabia, Arabica coffee. He was serious. He said, we brought coffee, Now the guy's like, we brought curry, we brought biryani. They didn't have biryani until we came over. So, alhamdulillah, we brought them biryani. But thank you very much, Jazakallah khair, for your cuisine and everything you brought with you. Take it back. That's not what we're talking about. What value are we going to add to the communities? Anywhere, even to our university, what am I going to add? What kind of value? I always have to be in that mindset that I have to do something to improve society. And of course, just so we're clear, there's nothing wrong with it Islamically, trying to improve your society. If you live in a non-Muslim country, trying to improve that place, or want that place to be blessed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I think it makes perfect sense that you live in a place, you want it to be a place blessed by Allah. You want to raise your children in a place blessed by Allah, not cursed. And so the Prophet ﷺ many times made dua for blessing and barakah for nations or tribes, actually, Arab tribes that were not Muslim tribes. So the scholars say this is proof that it's okay to say, God bless America, for example. And it's still a shame that in some masajid now, if somebody said, God bless America, it's like, khalas. A'udhu billah, this man is making dua for the enemy of Allah. Tabi akhi, you want to live here, you want it to be blessed or cursed, you decide. So the good Muslim is the one who wants to live in a cursed place, alhamdulillah. Really? Okay, that's interesting. All right, so we said you are not a burden on the community, and don't allow anyone to make it appear as if you're a burden on anyone. Your job is to guide people. Your job is to direct people. Your job is to bring benefit to people and to serve people. And it's such an honor when you're in that position as well, that you're the one serving others. Ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, the companion, he said that there is no person on earth who has more of a favor upon me than someone who had some kind of problem or calamity. And this person stayed up all night thinking, who could I go to help me with this problem? Who from all of Allah's creatures can assist me with this issue? And in the morning, he wakes up and he decides to come to me. It's like, there's no one on earth who has more favors upon me than the guy who came to me with his personal issue and came to me with his personal problem. So I would help them. That means he thought so well of me that from all the people on earth, he chose this person. Let him help me with my problem. How do we even regard that today when someone comes to you with their issues? Why did you have to come to me with this problem? Go to somebody else. I have my own problems. Yeah, everyone has problems. That's how it works. But even helping people with their problems make your problems look a little lighter and lesser, inshallah. Not so much of a big deal anymore. There's this story about this, it's a story they say, it's not a real story, about a king. And he said, everyone write down your problems. And he brought a big barrel, write down your problems and write them down and put them in this barrel. And so the barrel got filled with everyone and their problems and their concerns. So next day he tells everyone, just come, dip your hand and randomly take a problem and make it yours. So everyone was randomly picking a problem from the barrel and looking at it. And people would look and see, la, my problems were better than this. What is this? Alhamdulillah, my problems are nothing compared to this stuff. So everyone's like, no, take this one back, give me my original problems. Everyone has issues. But when you serve people, they decrease yours and they put your focus away from yours into the others. So you have less time for negative energy, negative thoughts. You put all your time and you feel better about yourself. Psychologists tell you to feel good about yourself, you need to feel good about what you do. One more time. To feel good about yourself, you need to feel good about what you do. So what are you doing? Some people just sit and mope and moan and complain all the time. They complain about the situation, about Islamophobia, about how people give us dirty looks. And so when you put yourself in that position, then all you see and everything that you encounter will be analyzed through those lenses. That, oh, these people hate me, and they look at me as a foreigner, and they see me this way, and they see me that way. So even if they're doing something nice to you, you're going to interpret it, or part of it, as negative, or maybe they're trying to send me this message. Come for them. Inshallah. So, again, to control the people, you control how they see themselves. How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a burden? Do you see yourself as a benefit? Do you see yourself as a da'iyah? Or do you just see yourself as someone who just drifted on a piece of wood and then they let you in and so you're like, you're like that last guy to enter Al-Jannah, You know what I'm saying? Yes or no? The hadith of the last person to enter Al-Jannah, so he just wants to move away from the hellfire, and then he just wants to look inside. So that's you at the border now, border crossing coming in, like, oh, what's inside? I see taxis, I see people happy. Okay, just let me just inside, I'll stand in there. And then they let you in, you're like, okay, you're standing in here. So then the rest of you stay, you see yourself as this kind of beggar who was allowed in. I'll never forget, I just want to share this. It's a bit weird, this story. But I'll never forget when, because my father was a diplomat and everything. And then finally we settled here, so we used to live around the world and everything. And I went to this ceremony what do you call it? The citizenship ceremony. Everyone gets a little flag and they move it like this and everything. And then this guy who was speaking, I was like, this guy has no tact. Has no diplomacy, has no good sense whatsoever. So he's speaking to this audience. It's a big room, and he's talking to them as if they're just beggars. He said, a lot of you are homeless, and just basically saying you guys are trash, and we just let you in here, and you should be so pleased and happy that we let you in. I was like, something. My father's an ambassador. I was a diplomat. I never delivered pizzas until I came here. So don't try to count favors upon me. Okay? Make me feel like I'm a beggar or something like that. I'm a blessing for you. Oh, that's not a little arrogant? No. I came here, and if one person in America takes Shahada, the rest of America has to thank me. Isn't that a bit arrogant? No, it's not. So I'm not some kind of burden here. If I come and I guide 1 or 4 or 3 of your citizens to Islam, I've done a great thing in America. Never see yourself as some kind of burden, as someone who's just in the margins, in the periphery, and people can put you down or anything like that. Don't allow anyone to tell you how you see yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told you. They told you that you're the best ummah ever sent for mankind. So you correct society, you guide society, you do good for people, and it's not that you're just going to sit and wait. And this is, in some countries, and this is examples of Europe, not here in North America, but in Europe where a lot of Muslims go, and they really are just, there's a specific country I'm thinking of, I just don't want to say the country, all right? But Muslims go, and they're just a burden on the state, a burden on the government, a burden on taxpayers. And so they'll get a home paid for by the government, and then they'll get some kind of stipend per month. And then he'll apply for that kind of housing for his wife as well, and she'll get a stipend. They'll apply separately, and she'll get a stipend also, a salary per month from the government. And then they'll rent the other home, like, illegally, to another Muslim, and they just sit there, a burden on the community. And I went to another country, and Muslims also, they were just behaving like they're just burdens on community. And so, why would the non-Muslims be proud of having people like that in the community? Why would they? Let's be honest. Why would they want more of those people who are just going to come there and do all these kinds of illegal things? And does this sound like a blessing for the community? Does this sound like خَيْرُ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرَجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ, the best of nations sent out for humanity? It doesn't sound like that whatsoever. So we have to be very aware of our conduct. We have to be very aware of what value are we adding to society. And if we are not, then we have to find something. That we're on an individual level, on a communal level, we have to be doing something. Our masajid have to be reaching out to everybody. They have to be a place that is welcoming everyone, that will help everyone. For the longest time in North America, our masajid would only help Muslims who are in need, Muslims who are in trouble, only give clothing to Muslims who need clothing, and food to Muslims who need food. But now, alhamdulillah, this is changing now with the newer generations, and inshallah we're expecting to change even more and become even better. So Jazakumullah khair again for being of the first crew to show up in the early mornings, and Jazakumullah khair for coming, and sallallahu wa barak ala Muhammad wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.